The following review is intended for entertainment purposes and targeted for adult fans of the series.
Hello there, heroes. I'm the Orange Ranger, and welcome to another Power Rangers Dino Fury Second Era episode review. During the filming of a comically long review for Radiant Black number 5, Squealer wanted to go outside. When I walked back to set, my foot caught on the lav mic's cord and jerked the camera. The mic now seems to be broken.
Oh no! It's broken!
This mic has broken before and just randomly started working again, so hey. I do have the handheld mic, that's what I'm recording into now, but I really hate holding a mic on set. So instead, I'm doing videos as podcasts until I find a mic replacement. But if you do watch my comic reviews, there's a key difference here. Thus far, I've had no issues from any comic company that I've reviewed the work of using their pages in the videos. Heck, Image Comics, who publishes Radiant Black, went from being cautious about it to not really caring when they saw what little impact it had on their sales. Hasbro, on the other hand, is a different beast. Not being on screen, I would love to use screen caps from episodes. But we all know that Hasbro will not let that fly. They've never allowed me to get away with it without stealing my monetization. So visually, this video is going to be boring. It's just going to be this background slate and the graphic for this episode. Basically, a podcast. Hey, maybe some of you will see this and it'll show you that my stuff does work as podcasts, and you'll check me out over on Anchor.fm. If that's where you're listening to this now, hi, thank you. I'm not really getting a lot of traction in the early going with my podcasts. I will still be using my cutaway gags, of course.
Oh no!
But other than that, if you're watching on YouTube, you're not going to see much. I edited this intro down and it's still 4 paragraphs. Memory is a funny thing. It can play tricks on you. What you remember may not be reality. Let's see how this impacts the Rangers by taking a look at the 3rd episode of Dino Fury Second Era, Missing Pieces.
Please make sure you subscribe to the channel.
Yeah, and make sure you got your notifications set up by hitting that little bell icon.
Right you. What he said was, you can consider checking us out on Patreon or Ko-fi at Orange Ranger Videos.
At Area 62, Void Knight repairs Wreckmate from the damage of the last battle. His next plan is interrupted by a Sporix beast named Oculo, who can see through anything. Void Knight knows this power is perfect to find Sporix, especially since Oculo mentions seeing the ones in the jukebox to find their way there. But what about the Rangers? Slither just so happened to find a steering wheel, a magical amulet, in the basement. One that can replace the Rangers' memories with false ones. It was just down there with the old TV guides and the covered furniture.
Oh well, gosh darn, ain't that convenient.
We get an interesting cityscape transition that seems to show us that 2 days have now passed. At the base, Ollie and Amelia are working on a software update for Solon. Ollie jokes that she's about to become the greatest gaming console in history, and not catching on to the joke, Amelia asks if she'll be able to run Backstreet Brawler 4 Goblin Town. Ah, the sequel to Devin's favorite game, Backstreet Brawler 3. Ion and Zato are still looking for Rafcon. They pull up a graphical representation of the universe, which looks like a stringy fish and not like a sphere. Interesting.
The universe is a spheroid region 705 meters in diameter.
Solon narrowed down the location of the 3 suns to what seems to be a particular sector of space. Amelia cracks her shoulder and Zato asks about it. She doesn't remember hurting it, but she did take a shortcut through the neighbor's garden, and Pop Pop thinks that woman is a witch.
You cursed rat! Look what you've done! I'm melting! Melting!
Ion remembers that the light dino key can repel magic and decides to use it on her. As Ollie says, this ought to be good. Let me fast forward this a bit because at the moment it seems pointless, though I thought I could see where it was going. Ion shoots her in the shoulder, and nothing happens. And then the Rangers go right back to looking for Rafcon.
That was a great scene.
Solon wakes up telling the Rangers they won't find Rafcon in that sector, except that's the sector that she calculated. She says she must have been buggy before the update and asks to take another crack at it.
How about taking another crack at it?
Javi and Izzy walk down some stairs when Solon calls, saying a Sporix has been reported nearby. Not a Sporix beast, mind you, just a Lil gooey Sporix. They go to grab it, but Slither, Mucus, and Oculo get there first. They've collected 3 Sporix thanks to Oculo's vision. Javi and Izzy morph to take the beast on. However, even when the other Rangers show up, they are no match for this thing. Mainly because it has eyes all over its body and can see any attack the Rangers make. Slither finally steps in when the team is all together, using a memory mix-up to plant in the Rangers' memories that when they showed up to the report, the Sporix was actually just a juicy green pickle, and there were no bad guys around. The bad guys leave, the Rangers' memories are indeed affected, and Solon distracts them anyway, telling them she has found Rafcon's 3 sons. The Rangers come back, and Solon points out how weird it is that they only found a pickle when looking for the Sporix. In fact, this has happened 3 times over the past couple of days. Zato even shows her via his telepathy that it was a big, green, juicy pickle, but she's unconvinced, saying they should check the news against their memories. Ion is a jerk because Ion is always a jerk, blaming her for the miscalculation earlier and saying clearly she is the one that's wrong. To be fair...
Don't say to be fair. Hate when people say to be fair.
Even Ollie agrees with this, saying the software update... Who exactly publishes a software update for a cyborg dinosaur? Maybe Ollie designed it himself. Must not have taken, and he can reload it. She apologizes again for the miscalculation earlier, but says, look, there are the 3 sons. Zato, ever the wise leader, has the rest of the team investigate Solon's claims, while he alone will use the T-Rex Cosmic Megazord to go investigate the coordinates where the 3 sons are. Solon tries to say that he should stay and help the other Rangers, but he insists on going. Zato locates the 3 sons, but there's no planet there. He starts investigating. Meanwhile, Amelia's shoulder is still sore and she decides to take a break. Searching the web for ways to relieve shoulder pain. This shoehorns in our comic relief with a clip from Buzz Blast about massage relief with J-Borg beating up Jane in the name of massage, which, hey, wasn't funny, but it was at least kind of satisfying. There's the most tangential tie to the plot as Jane says, hey, want to know why we're talking about shoulder pain? Check this clip out. A few days ago, we were filming a story when a Sporix beast named Oculo attacked. The Rangers arrived, and Pink specifically got us to safety. The monster threw her hard against a wall, and she seemed to hurt her shoulder. The Rangers have no memory of this. And this is the reason for the 2-day time jump at the start of the episode. Very clever writing. The Rangers realize something has messed with their memories. Meanwhile, Zato's scans don't locate a planet, just a message beacon. He decides it's better than coming home empty-handed, but when he scans it, he recognizes the sound it makes and declares he's gotta have it now. Back on Earth, the Ranger hotline goes off. Hang on, if nobody answers the hotline, what sets off the alarm? Maybe an AI that can detect words like Sporix Beast or Monster in a voicemail. Anyway, how can the Rangers counter the memory magic? The Light Dino Key, which would be a fantastic solution if Zato hadn't just used it to go to space. Solon says she'll contact Zato, and the Rangers know in the meantime they'll have to risk it anyway. They confront the bad guys, Oculo saying they have most of the Sporix at this point. They have another fight, but then Slither uses the memory wheel once again. This time, to change things up, the Sporix beast was just a big teddy bear that they gave a nice cuddle. However, Zato shows back up on, what else, the Dino Fury cycle, breaking the wheel. He activates the light key, giving us a look at the super snazzy light dino armor, and uses the spellbreaker to free the Rangers. They still have the problem of Oculo's eyes. You have to blind them all, even the ones on the back. Ollie uses the flare key, and this time Javi uses the slick key, creating a reflective surface behind Oculo so it's blinded from all sides. The Rangers get their punches in, then activate all of their keys for a Dino Fury force attack. But something explodes right in front of them first. It's Void Knight, who has had just about enough of standing on the sidelines while the Rangers wreck his plans. To be fair... Sorry, that cutaway is just really funny. Anyway, this is actually the first appearance of the suit in the Sentai footage, but it's very well written in. Void Knight absolutely waxes the Rangers, and then leaves with the Sporix. Back at Area 62, Void Knight says the hull should be enough to power his machine, but it seems to come up about 1 short, to his frustration. Back at the base, the Rangers apologize to Solon for doubting her about their memories. To be clear here, Ollie and Amelia apologize. In fact, as if to just bolt down his being an unapologetic jerkwad, it's Ion who says, okay, enough about that. Zato, what about Rafcon?
Shut up! As in, close your mouth and stop talking.
Zato explains how he found only a message beacon where Rafcon should be, and in fact, the message does sound familiar. It sounds the same as the message they detected from space a while back. The two messages are still just garbled noise, but Ollie realizes they may not be two messages, but parts of one. He and Zato play the two at the same time and can hear bits of a message. To those who survived, so that Rafcon could heal safely. Rafcon, keep it safe. The Rangers know they have to find the rest of this message, so they can find Rafcon. Maybe it's on one of the two sides of these scales I'm balancing. Episode 3, Missing Pieces. Pro's very clever time skip episode setup, making the Rangers doubt themselves, and a real serialized story. Cons, Ion's continuing, frustrating characterization, the villain's plan was too convenient, and 2 moments of pointless stretching out. A steady but strong improvement. Missing Pieces gets 4 scales out of 5. This episode ends up having an almost Doctor Who feeling to it. We learn the plan, skip ahead 2 days, then realize stuff happened in those 2 days that not even we were aware of. It helps us feel the same doubt as the Rangers. They don't remember the fight that we saw, but they also don't remember 2 fights that we didn't see. It's surprisingly complicated for the audience this show has been targeted at. And yes, that doubt. We need a few episodes where we see that the Rangers are not gods. They aren't perfect heroes. More often that comes from them just getting smacked around, and hey, we got that in this one too, thanks to Void Knight. But seeing them so sure of their false memories, and then realizing, no, we have been tricked. We are wrong. That's a nice moment of humanity for our heroes. Producer Simon Bennett recently did an interview with Den of Geek, and one of the things he said is that while Saban specifically limited Power Rangers to only do multi-part episodes in the first 2 or last 2 of a season, now they're free to do more serialized storytelling. And we see it here. I mean, through the first season, we've had Void Knight's quest to awaken Santora, but now we add the quest to find Rafcon. It was hinted at now and then last season, but this time, it seems like it's going to be a constant presence. The side quest to the Rangers' efforts versus Void Knight. Too bad the show is starting to make me hope that one of the Rafcon Rangers doesn't ever get to see it. What is up with how Ion is being characterized? It's basically him specifically that rats out Solon for her mistake, really tearing into her. And this time, we don't even get an ingenuine apology. He's not even the one that apologizes. And he moves the plot on from the apology. Gah! He's a jerk! A-S-S-H-O-L-E, everybody! The entire villain plot this week was far too convenient. A Sporix beast that helps Void Knight way up his count of Sporix just shows up, and Slither pairs that with a Wii Wheel he found in the basement that screws with memories. It makes you believe that was actually a good way to control Mario Kart Wii. I felt like especially the memory wheel should have been given a lot more weight, found in a previous episode, maybe stolen from the Rangers. As complicated as this story was, it's weird that it needed to stretch for time, but it actually did twice. Jane Borg, of course, was completely unnecessary, barely tied into the plot in a way that just the second clip of them could have done, but also the thing with Amelia's shoulder. Yes, it was the clever giveaway to what was going on, but they focused on it just a little too much. That first scene with the light key was really next to pointless. I thought they were setting it up that since Amelia had been hit by the light key, she wouldn't be impacted by the memory wheel, but that's not where they took it. Overall, an encouraging episode. This one feels like the writers were just starting to stretch their wings, using the newfound freedom they had from being just on Netflix. Let's hope that stretching continues into the 4th episode of Dino Fury, Tiny Trouble. Oculo searches for more Sporix, while the Rangers locate a tiny Zord they need to protect. That's going to do it for another Power Rangers Dino Fury Second Era episode review. Thank you, heroes, so much as always for listening to me and watching this on YouTube at the very least. Now that the video's done, you can let me know what you thought of this episode, as well as my review of it, down in the comments below. While you're down there, make sure you smack that thumbs up button to let me know that you enjoyed this video. If you'd like to add any financial support to my channel that's not Patreon or Ko-fi, feel free to check out Orange Ranger videos over on Teespring to get a shirt, a hat, a mask, etc., etc. And remember, if you are viewing this on YouTube, you can also check out Orange Ranger audio podcast versions of my videos at anchor.fm/orange-ranger-audio. Until next time, heroes, and yes, I'm doing the salute even though you can't see me, may the power protect you. They have the problem of them. That was a long time without a blooper. What is up with how I felt specifically the memory